What's up, family? So, what happens when someone finally says out loud what millions of Americans have been thinking for years? You get what Stephen Miller just did? He called out the humanitarian crisis at the border. He laid bare the pain, the loss, and yes, the betrayal of American citizens. And guess what, family? The media didn't like it. Why? Because he cut through the spine with straight up reality. And let's walk through what he said and why so many people are finally saying enough. So, before we actually get into Tim Walz's daughter, I want to share this, right? Because CNN tried to breeze past it, but here's the fact 56% of Americans now support deporting all undocumented immigrants, not just criminals, not just recent border crossers, everyone here illegally in the United States. That's up from 38% in 2016. And this isn't from some right-leaning poll. This is from CNN, which makes it even more revealing because it shows how far the American public has shifted without the media's permission. But check it out, family. Don't take my words for it. Check out what CNN had to say.
Okay, let's talk about the polling, and then I want to talk about another thing you mentioned, which is the optics of it. But on the polling, because I think this is important. He's right. Trump has his best favorability on the issue of immigration broadly. But can I ask you to explain something to me?
Please.
You have some polling that shows Americans would be okay with everybody being deported who's here illegally. There's also polling that asks more specifically, if you have been in the United States for 10 years, you paid taxes, you have no criminal record, but you are undocumented, do you support deporting those people? 63% oppose that. So how do we even make sense of these numbers?
Yeah, sometimes it's so interesting. You poll the public, and it turns out the public can hold conflicting views even within themselves, right? And it's part of my job to figure out, okay, where do they actually feel on the overall immigration picture? And I think it's important to note, as we have mentioned, is that Donald Trump's net approval rating on immigration is actually positive, which is very much unlike his first term. If you ask, are we on the right track or the wrong track when it comes to immigration policy, the plurality say that we're on the right track, which is very different from where we were just a few months ago under Joe Biden. So, yeah, you see those polling and you see it's conflicting. It kind of actually reminds me a little bit of the gun control debate, right? Where you see, oh, my God, 90% background checks. And then, of course, you look at ballot measures in places like Nevada and Maine. And then when it's actually on the ballot, it's basically 50-50. In my opinion, on this particular topic, what we're really talking about and the metric we should be looking to is, do people like, when they ask, do you like what Donald Trump's doing on immigration? And if the plurality says yes, which is what's going on, then that's the number that I think is most representative of the public at large.
And that's amazing because, look, man, why are people liking the trajectory and where Trump is going is because people are watching chaos play out in real time. Border towns overrun, migrant shelters in suburbs, public schools overwhelmed, emergency rooms flooded, and yes, children exploited by cartels under policies that are supposed to be compassionate, right? And that's what moved the needle. Reality. So, however, it just reminds me, and what I look at it is, and I want to have a discussion. I ask you guys in the comments to get you guys perspective as well, because I'm always open to the possibility of being wrong. The delusion of the elites, I like to call it, because what's the media response? Of course, you may ask, and you guys already have seen, oh, people must be confused. And one CNN analysis literally said, well, voters seem to be conflicted, as you guys heard. No, voters aren't conflicted. They're just fed up. They're sick of all the bait and switch, promises of humane immigration turning into humanitarian crisis, accusations of racism just for asking that the law be enforced, being told that open borders are compassionate while their own neighborhoods turn upside down. You don't have to be a political expert to see this dysfunction. You just have to live in America with your eyes open. Know what I'm saying? And I want to get to Stephen Miller, man. Because look, Stephen Miller, then comes Stephen Miller, who flat out torched the lies and laid down the reality. He said basically there aren't enough volumes in the library to document the children trafficked and raped because of these border policies. But don't take my word for it. Check it out, family.
Do you know how many stories I could tell you of children that were trafficked across the border and raped because of the policies of Joe Biden? There aren't enough volumes that could fit into a library to calculate the carnage that has been inflicted by the Democrat Party's policy of open borders. We can spend the rest of our lives trying to document those harms. Where does our whole country go to get repaid for all of the wealth, all of the prosperity and security that has been stolen from us by decades of uncontrolled illegal mass migration? Because we all deserve reparations for what has been stolen from us. It is a tragedy that defies our ability to even describe it. Do you have any stories?
And he's right. Over 85,000 migrant children are currently missing, lost in a broken system. And many are being exploited by traffickers and abusers. Others are in labor in factories, working dangerous jobs with no oversight. And where's the media outrage? Where are the tearful think pieces? Nowhere, because it doesn't fit the narrative. And Miller went even further and said Americans deserve reparations, as you guys heard, for what's been stolen. Our safety, our wealth, our communities. And you know what? He's not wrong. Think about it. You work hard as an American citizen, you pay taxes, you follow the law, and in return, you watch your community get flooded with illegal entrants who receive housing, health care, legal aid, and more, all while the system you paid into crumbles under the weight. That's not just justice, that's betrayal. However, then one of the most absurd statements in recent memory, Tim Walz's daughter. Check out what she had to say, family. She had to speak on Jesus.
If Jesus were alive today and in the United States, this administration would have already taken him and removed him from this country without due process, claimed he was a member of the MS-13 gang as a way to try to justify not giving him due process, as if there is any justifiable reason to not giving somebody due process. But yeah, some people don't want to talk about that. It truly is baffling how clear and laid out everything is, and there is still people standing by it. I believe in the good of people and like humanity, humans, deep down at our core, like we care about each other. But that's really being tested, because how anyone is okay with this is terrifying to me. But yeah, if you look like me, speak up, speak out, because we might be the only ones safe from what's coming and some of the only people that are able to stop it. So yeah, it's our duty at this point.
Mind blowing. Tim Walz's daughter, Tampon Timmy, the one who actually supported tampons to be in men's bathroom. That's very terrifying. But she said, like you guys heard, if Jesus were here today, Trump would have deported him, probably claiming he was MS-13. Let's be clear, because I don't know what Jesus she served. Jesus wasn't a gang member. Jesus didn't break into another country to escape accountability, and Jesus didn't exploit children to cross borders. Trying to equate a divine figure to a violent cartel member is not just a bad analogy, it's intellectually dishonest and emotionally manipulative. And this is the kind of shallow morale posturing that makes serious conversation impossible, family. And here's what everyday Americans believe, and it's not complicated, family. It's not complicated at all. We can welcome immigrants legally without letting cartels run the border. We can enforce the law without hating people. We can be a nation of compassion without being a doormat. What Stefan Miller said wasn't radical. It was common sense that we've been told we're not allowed to say out loud. And the open borders isn't kind, it's cruel to Americans, to migrants, and especially to children who are being trafficked under the guise of humanitarianism. So here's the real question. How much longer are we going to let the media and politicians lie to us about what's happening? When a majority of the country supports deportation, that's not fringe. That's a wake up call. We don't need more fake compassion. We need real solutions. We need order, sovereignty, and accountability. And yes, we need more people with the courage to speak the truth, like Stefan Miller just did. So if you agree that it's time to put American and the citizens first again, hit the like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Are you in the 56% who've had enough? Let's talk about it. And let's keep it real, family. But let the love supersede the hate. Spread that peace, love, and positivity. Until next time, family, peace.